You are here. I know how heavy that feels right now. The kind of tiredness that lives behind your eyes. The ache that settles into your chest before you even open them in the morning. Maybe you picked up this book or pressed play on this recording after another sleepless night, another conversation that left you raw, another moment when life asked more of you than you thought you had left to give. You're exhausted, and that's all right. I see you. I'm right here with you. This is not another voice promising to make the pain disappear. I'm not going to tell you that if you just think more positively or follow the right steps, the storm will magically pass. Because sometimes the storm doesn't pass quickly. Sometimes it lingers. Sometimes it changes everything. And in those seasons, the usual advice can start to feel like a quiet betrayal. Like it's asking you to abandon the truth of what you're actually living through. So let's begin differently. This book is an invitation to stop running from the discomfort and learn instead how to stay open inside it. To remain present when every part of you wants to shut down, numb out, or build thicker walls. True peace, the kind that doesn't shatter the moment life gets hard again, is not found by escaping the storm. It is grown by learning to stand in the middle of it with your heart still soft, your eyes still open, and your spirit still willing to feel. Imagine a great oak tree on a windswept hill. When the storm comes, the tree does not fight the wind by becoming rigid. It bends. Its deep roots hold, but its branches move with the gale. It stays open to the rain, even as the sky cracks open above it. The tree does not wait for the storm to end before it continues growing. It grows inside the storm. That is what we are learning here. You've probably noticed by now that most self-help approaches falter when life gets truly difficult. They sell comfort. They offer quick fixes, 5-step formulas, morning routines that promise to protect you from ever feeling too much. And when the layoff comes, when the diagnosis arrives, when the person you love walks away, or the future you plan dissolves, those tools often leave you feeling like you failed. Like if only you had meditated harder, journaled better, or manifested more perfectly, this pain wouldn't be happening. But what if the pain is not the problem? What if the real suffering comes from our desperate attempts to avoid it? From the constant seeking of comfort, certainty, and emotional safety? We chase relief so aggressively that we miss the quiet wisdom waiting inside the difficulty itself. Today, we are building the inner capacity to remain open when everything hurts. To stay connected to your own heart, to other people, to life itself, even when the ground feels unsteady. This capacity changes everything. It turns surviving into something deeper. It allows grief to move through you instead of getting trapped inside. It creates space for unexpected growth, for new kinds of strength, for a softer, wiser version of yourself to slowly emerge. You don't need to be stronger than you are right now. You only need to be willing to stay with what is true. That willingness is the beginning. Think about a time when you were in the middle of something painful, a difficult conversation at work, a fight with someone you love, a moment of deep self-doubt. What happened when you tried to push the feelings away? Did they really leave? Or did they simply go underground and return later, heavier? Now, contrast that with the rare moments when you simply let yourself feel it all. The shaking hands, the tight throat, the wave of sorrow. Something gentle often happens in those moments. A little space appears. A breath gets through. You discover you can survive feeling everything. That is the muscle we are going to strengthen together. Throughout this journey, I'll share simple, practical ways to do this in real life. Not grand gestures, but small, Repeatable shifts you can use in traffic, in meetings, in the middle of the night when anxiety wakes you. You'll learn how to notice when you're closing down and gently choose openness instead. You'll discover reframes that don't bypass pain, but walk straight into it with kinder eyes. You'll hear stories of a woman who lost her business, yet found an unexpected purpose, of a man whose marriage ended and who slowly learned to love without armor, of ordinary people who stopped waiting for the storm to pass and started growing right where they stood. None of them were special. They were simply willing. And that willingness is available to you right now, exactly as you are. So here is my gentle request as we begin. Keep listening with an open heart. Not a perfect heart, not an unbroken one, just one that's willing to stay a little softer than feels comfortable. You don't have to believe everything I say. You don't have to feel hopeful yet. Just stay with me. Let these words land where they can. Some will feel like a warm hand on your shoulder. Others might sting a little. That's all right. Everything belongs here. You have already survived 100% of your hardest days so far. That is no small thing. The fact that you're still here, still searching, still willing to grow, that says everything about who you are. There is more strength in you than you know. There is more tenderness available than you've been allowing. And there is a kind of peace that can exist alongside the storm, not because the winds have stopped, but because you have learned how to move with them. This is not a book about becoming unbreakable. This is a book about becoming beautifully, courageously open. Chapter 1. The storm is not the enemy. You've felt it, haven't you? That moment when life suddenly shifts and the sky darkens without warning. The diagnosis, the breakup text, the unexpected layoff, the child who pulls away, the dream that quietly dies. In those moments, it's so easy to believe the storm is against you, that it was sent to punish you, to break you, or to prove that you somehow got it all wrong. But what if that belief is the first thing wearing you down? Think of an actual storm. The wind howls. Thunder cracks across the sky. Rain lashes the windows. Everything feels chaotic, loud, overwhelming. Yet, after the storm passes, the air is clearer. Rivers run fuller. Seeds that lay dormant in hard soil finally crack open. The landscape is rearranged. Yes, but it is also renewed. The storm wasn't cruel. It was powerful. It was honest. It was alive. Your emotional storms work the same way. The heartbreak, the uncertainty, the failure, the grief, they are not signs that life has gone wrong. They are signs that you are alive and growing. You are in the weather of being human. Most of us were never taught this. We were taught that comfort equals success and difficulty equals failure. So when the storm arrives, we treat it like a personal attack. We clench. We brace. We try to outsmart it or outrun it. And in that resistance, we exhaust ourselves long before the winds ever calm. I remember speaking with a woman named Sarah a few years ago. She was a driven executive in her late 40s. When her company went through a sudden restructuring and she was let go after 18 years, she treated the layoff like a war she had to win. She updated her resume the same night, applied to 40 jobs in 2 weeks, networked furiously, and refused to let herself feel the grief. "I don't have time to fall apart," she told herself. For months, she ran on adrenaline and denial. Her body paid the price: tight shoulders, sleepless nights, tension headaches. Her relationships suffered because she was short-tempered and unavailable. The more she fought the storm, the more it seemed to chase her. Only when she finally collapsed into exhaustion did she begin to see the truth. The layoff wasn't just a professional setback. It was life inviting her to reconsider who she was beyond her title, beyond constant productivity. When she stopped fighting and started listening, new possibilities slowly appeared. Not easier ones, but truer ones. You may recognize yourself in Sarah's story. How many times have you tried to control the uncontrollable? How many nights have you lain awake, bargaining with the pain, promising yourself that if you just think harder, work harder, or fix yourself faster, the discomfort will leave? Fighting the storm is natural. It's human, but it is also incredibly tiring, because resistance turns temporary weather into a permanent inner war. Every time you say, "This shouldn't be happening," you add another layer of suffering on top of the original pain. You create tension on top of grief, anxiety on top of uncertainty, shame on top of loss. But what happens when we meet the storm differently? Imagine standing in the rain instead of running from it. At first, it feels uncomfortable. The water is cold. Your clothes get heavy. But after a while, something shifts. You notice the way rain sounds on leaves. You feel the aliveness in the air. You stop wasting energy on resistance and start conserving it for what truly matters. You become part of the storm rather than its victim. This is the radical shift we're exploring in this book, staying open to the storm. Not because we enjoy the pain, but because we understand that only openness allows the experience to move through us, instead of getting stuck inside us. Let me offer you a gentle reframe right now, one you can return to again and again. When the pain feels too big, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What is this storm asking me to feel, to learn, or to release?" That small shift in question changes the direction of your energy. It moves you from victim to student, from resistance to relationship. The storm is no longer something to defeat. It becomes something to move with. You can practice this today in small ways. The next time a wave of sadness or anger or fear rises in your chest, pause. Place one hand on your heart and one on your belly. Breathe slowly. Say to yourself, quietly or out loud, "This belongs. I don't have to like it, but I can stay open to it." Notice what happens in your body when you stop pushing the feeling away. Often you'll feel a slight softening, a little more space. That space is where wisdom grows. In relationships, this practice becomes especially powerful. When your partner says something that hurts, your first instinct might be to close down, defend, or attack. But what if, even for 30 seconds, you stayed open? What if you let yourself feel the sting without immediately building a wall? You might discover that beneath the hurt is a deeper need to be seen, to be safe, to matter. Staying open lets you respond from that deeper place instead of reacting from fear. At work, the same principle applies. When a project fails or criticism arrives, you can treat it as proof that you're not good enough, or you can let it be rain on the soil of your growth. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it might bruise your ego, but openness turns feedback into fertilizer. Resistance turns it into poison. The people who fight their storms often stay stuck longer. They carry resentment, tightness, and exhaustion for years. The ones who learn to stay open, imperfectly, messily, bravely, move through the same difficulties and somehow come out softer, clearer, and more alive. Not because the storm was easier for them, but because they stopped making it their enemy. The truth is, storms come for everyone. No amount of money, status, or careful planning can prevent them. The beauty of this realization is that it levels the field. Your pain does not make you broken. It makes you part of the human story. It connects you to every person who has ever loved and lost, dreamed and failed, hoped and been disappointed. In that shared humanity, there is unexpected comfort, not the shallow comfort of avoidance, but the deep comfort of knowing you are not alone. So, stop treating the storm as punishment. Start meeting it as weather. You do not need to enjoy the rain. You only need to stop fighting it so fiercely. You do not need to have it all figured out. You only need to remain willing to feel what is here. That willingness is the crack where light eventually enters. You've already survived every storm that has ever come your way. Every single one. The fact that you are still here, still breathing, still listening to these words, proves you carry more resilience than you realize. Now we begin to turn that survival into something more graceful, into presence, into openness, into a deeper kind of strength that doesn't break when life gets hard again. Chapter 2: The Seductive Trap of Comfort Seeking. You feel the pull, don't you? When the pain rises, when the uncertainty tightens around your chest, something inside you whispers, just make it stop. Just feel better for a moment. It's such a human response. So understandable. So incredibly seductive. We all do it. Every one of us. In the quiet hours after an argument, you might reach for your phone and doom scroll until your eyes burn. After receiving difficult news, you throw yourself into work, answering emails at midnight, as if productivity could outrun grief. Or perhaps you smile through the pain and tell everyone you're staying positive, repeating affirmations while quietly pushing away the tears. These aren't signs of weakness. They are simply the ways we've learned to protect ourselves from feeling too much, too deeply, for too long. Let's speak honestly and gently about this. Comfort seeking isn't the enemy either. It's a survival strategy. From the time we were small, we discovered that pain hurts, and the mind quickly learned to look for exits. A drink after a hard day, endless streaming when loneliness creeps in, jumping into a new relationship before the old one has fully ended. Spiritual practices used not to meet life, but to rise above it. These behaviors make sense. They offer temporary shelter. But here is where the trap hides. Every time we choose comfort over presence, we strengthen the belief that we cannot handle discomfort. We teach ourselves that difficult feelings are dangerous. And slowly, quietly, we begin building our inner house on sand instead of on rock. A house built on sand looks beautiful at first. The foundation feels soft, easy. You can rearrange things quickly when the weather changes. But when the real storm arrives, the sand shifts. The walls crack. The whole structure becomes unstable. You spend more and more energy trying to hold it together, patching holes, moving furniture, pretending everything is fine. Now, imagine a house built on rock. The foundation is solid. It doesn't flinch when the winds howl. The storms still come. Rain still beats against the windows. But the house holds. You don't have to exhaust yourself maintaining it. You can even open the windows and let the fresh, wild air move through. You feel safer, not because the weather is always pleasant, but because your foundation can bear the truth of any season. This is the difference between a life organized around seeking comfort and a life rooted in staying open. Let me tell you about Michael. He was a kind, successful man in his early 50s. When his marriage began to unravel, the pain felt unbearable. So he did what many of us do. He worked longer hours. He filled his weekends with golf and drinks with friends. He told himself he was handling it well. At night, He drank just enough wine to soften the sharp edges of loneliness. For almost 2 years, he stayed busy. He avoided the hard conversations. He numbed the grief. On the surface, he looked fine, but inside, something was eroding. His health declined. His relationships with his children grew distant. The very comfort he chased kept him trapped in the same cycle of avoidance. Only when he finally stopped running, when he allowed himself to feel the full weight of the loss, did real healing begin. The rock beneath him slowly revealed itself. You may see pieces of Michael in your own life. How often have you noticed the subtle ways you flee discomfort? The quick glance at your phone during a wave of anxiety. The forced positivity that dismisses your real feelings. The overworking that masquerades as dedication. These patterns don't make you flawed. They make you human. But they come with a hidden cost that is far higher than most of us realize. Every time you numb, distract, or bypass, you weaken your capacity to handle life. You make future storms feel even more threatening. You slowly disconnect from your own depth, from your intuition, from the raw aliveness that lives on the other side of pain. You stay smaller than you truly are. Safer, yes, but less free, less connected, less powerfully you. Think about it. When was the last time you sat with a difficult emotion without immediately trying to fix or escape it? What happened inside your body? Did it feel intolerable after a few moments? That intolerance isn't permanent. It's a muscle we've simply stopped training. The modern world makes this trap even more seductive. We live in an age of perfect distractions. Endless content tailored to keep you scrolling. Substances available at the touch of an app. Culture that celebrates toxic positivity and shames honest struggle. Good vibes only becomes another way of saying, don't bring your real pain here. And yet, the soul knows. Deep down, something in you longs for more than temporary relief. It longs for genuine strength, for the kind of peace that can coexist with reality, not one that depends on perfect conditions. So what would it look like to begin changing this pattern? Here is a simple practice you can try the next time discomfort arises. When you feel the urge to reach for comfort, whether it's food, screens, busyness, or anything else, pause for just 30 seconds. Place your hand on your chest, breathe slowly, and say to yourself, this feeling is uncomfortable, but it is not dangerous. I don't need to fix it right now. I can stay open for a few more breaths. Notice what happens. The urge might still be there, but something softens. You create a small space between the pain and your reaction to it. That space is where freedom begins. You do not need to eliminate discomfort to live a beautiful life. You need to stop fearing it. You need to stop organizing your days around avoiding it. When you stop treating difficult feelings as emergencies, they lose much of their power over you. They become weather again, intense at times, but always moving, always changing. Staying open doesn't mean you never seek comfort. There is wisdom in rest. There is kindness in taking a break. The difference is intention. Are you choosing comfort to temporarily restore yourself, so you can return to life more present? Or are you using it to permanently escape from life? One builds the house on rock. The other keeps building on sand. Now, imagine what becomes possible when you stop spending so much energy running from the very experiences that could deepen you. You begin to trust yourself more. You show up in relationships with more honesty and courage. You bring a quieter strength into your work. You discover joy that doesn't depend on everything going well. You touch a kind of aliveness that only comes when you stop hiding from yourself. You don't have to do this perfectly. Start small. Notice one moment today when you reach for comfort and simply ask yourself, am I building on sand or on rock right now? That gentle awareness, repeated over time, will transform you. You are capable of so much more than constant comfort seeking allows. Beneath the fear of discomfort lives a version of you who can weather storms with grace, who can feel deeply and still move forward, who can hold both pain and beauty in the same open heart. That version of you is already here, waiting, not in some future when life gets easier, but right now, in the middle of whatever storm you're facing. Chapter 3: Staying Open, a Radical New Orientation. Take a gentle breath with me right now. Feel the air moving in. Feel it leaving. That simple act of breathing is already an expression of openness. Your body knows how to do this. It receives the air without resistance, lets it do its work, and releases it again. This is what we are learning to do with life itself. Staying open is not some grand spiritual achievement. It is a quiet, radical shift in how you meet the moments that hurt. It means allowing sensations, emotions, thoughts, and experiences to move through you without clenching against them, without rejecting them, and without desperately clinging to them. It is the willingness to remain soft enough for life to flow, even when the flow feels like fire or flood. Most of us were never taught this. When difficulty comes, we usually do one of three things. We fight, we flee, or we freeze. You fight when you argue with reality. This shouldn't be happening. I need this to change right now. Your jaw tightens. Your shoulders rise. Energy pours into resistance. You flee when you reach for anything that promises quick relief. The phone, the wine, the busy schedule, the positive spin. Anything to avoid feeling what is actually here. You freeze when overwhelm shuts you down. You go numb. You disconnect. The world keeps moving, but you feel stuck inside yourself, unable to touch what hurts or move forward. All three responses make sense. They are ancient protections, but they also keep you trapped. Fighting exhausts you. Fleeing weakens you. Freezing disconnects you. None of them allow the storm to pass through. They turn temporary pain into long-term suffering. Staying open offers a different way. Imagine your body as a wide, clear river. When emotions come, they are like water after heavy rain. Muddy, turbulent, powerful. If you try to dam the river, the pressure builds until something breaks. If you try to divert it, the water finds new paths and creates chaos. But if you let the river flow, staying open to its force while remaining rooted on the banks, then the water eventually passes. The riverbed may shift. The landscape may change. But the river itself remains alive and clear again. This is what staying open looks like in your daily life. Your chest feels tight after bad news. Instead of tightening further or distracting yourself, you place a hand there and whisper, "I see you. You can be here." The tightness is allowed to exist. And because it is allowed, it begins to soften. A constricted throat when grief rises. A heavy heart when loneliness settles in. These are not enemies to defeat. They are signals that you are alive and feeling deeply. Staying open rests on 4 gentle principles. Let them settle into you like warm sunlight. First, willingness. The simple choice to say yes to what is here, even if you don't like it. Not because you approve of the pain, but because fighting it only multiplies the hurt. Second, curiosity. Instead of turning away, you turn toward the experience with gentle interest. What does this feeling feel like in my body right now? Where is it asking for attention? Curiosity softens judgment and opens new doorways. Third, presence. You stay here, in this moment, instead of rushing into the future or hiding in the past. One breath, one sensation, one honest acknowledgement. Presence keeps you anchored when everything else feels unsteady. Fourth, self-compassion. You speak to yourself like a wise, loving friend. This is hard. You're doing your best. I'm right here with you. These words are medicine for the parts of you that feel ashamed of struggling. Let me share a story with you. There was a man named David who lost his only brother suddenly in a car accident. The grief was a tidal wave. For weeks he fought it. He threw himself into planning the funeral, handling paperwork, and taking care of everyone else. He told people he was fine. Inside, his body was screaming. Tight chest, shallow breathing, constant tension in his jaw. One evening, alone in his brother's old apartment while sorting through belongings, something shifted. David stopped. He sat on the floor, held a worn sweater that still carried his brother's scent, and let himself feel everything. The sobs came violently at first. He didn't run. He didn't numb. He stayed open. He placed both hands on his heart and whispered, "I'm here. This hurts like hell, and I'm here." In the days that followed, he kept practicing. He would pause during the day, notice the wave of sorrow rising, and meet it with curiosity and compassion instead of resistance. The grief didn't disappear, but it began to move through him rather than trap him. Memories of his brother started bringing smiles alongside the tears. He felt connected again to his brother's memory, to his own heart, and eventually to life itself. Staying open didn't take the pain away. It gave him a way to carry it with love instead of bitterness. You don't need to face your greatest loss to begin this practice. You can start small, right where you are. The next time you feel a difficult emotion, irritation in traffic, anxiety before a meeting, sadness while folding laundry, try this simple exercise. Pause. Take 2 slow breaths. Name what you're feeling. This is anger. This is fear. This is grief. Then ask gently, where do I feel this in my body? Place a hand on that place. Offer it kindness. I'm willing to feel this for the next 30 seconds. I don't have to fix it. Notice what happens. Often the intensity shifts. Not always downward, but it changes. It moves. That movement is healing. Some days you will stay open for only a few moments before the old habits return. That's all right. This is not about perfection. It is about direction. Each time you choose openness, even briefly, you strengthen the muscle. You build that house on rock we spoke about earlier. Think about your relationships. When conflict arises with someone you love, staying open might mean listening without immediately defending yourself, feeling the sting of their words, and still choosing to remain connected rather than closing off. In the workplace, it could look like receiving difficult feedback and letting yourself feel the discomfort instead of immediately dismissing it or overworking to prove your worth. These small moments of openness create space for real growth and deeper connection. Staying open is radical because it goes against so much of what our culture teaches. We are told to be strong by being tough, to succeed by pushing through, to heal by thinking only positive thoughts. But true strength is tender. True success includes being honest about struggle. True healing comes from meeting pain with presence, not from pretending it isn't there. You may be wondering, what if I open and the pain is too much? This is a wise and honest question. And here is the compassionate truth. You will never be asked to feel everything all at once. Life gives you the moment, and you meet the moment. Bit by bit, breath by breath. Your nervous system has more capacity than you realize when it is met with kindness instead of force. Over time, something beautiful begins to happen. You start trusting yourself. You realize you can feel deeply and still be okay. You discover that joy and sorrow can live in the same heart. That laughter can return even while carrying loss. That peace is not the absence of storms, but the quiet center you learn to inhabit within them. You are already capable of this. The proof lives in every time you have comforted a friend in pain, held space for someone else's tears, or found courage on a hard day. That same quality can now be turned inward, toward yourself, toward your own precious, tender heart. You don't need to transform overnight. Just keep turning toward what is here with willingness, curiosity, presence, and compassion, one moment at a time. Chapter 4. Meeting your pain with kindness instead of fear. Pain is part of being alive, but so often, we don't just feel the pain life brings. We make it heavier. We wrap fear around it. We cover it in shame. We push against it with everything we have. And in that resistance, a single wound becomes 2, then 3, until the original hurt is almost lost beneath layers of our own making. This is one of the most important distinctions you can ever learn, the difference between primary pain and secondary pain. Primary pain is the raw, honest ache that life delivers, the sharp sting of rejection, the heavy fog of grief after loss, the tight grip of anxiety when the future feels uncertain, the quiet despair when dreams fall apart. This pain is unavoidable. It is the weather of a human heart. It comes whether we want it or not. Secondary pain is what we add to it. The voice that says, "I shouldn't feel this way. What's wrong with me?" The fear that whispers, "If I let this in, I'll never get out." The shame that asks, "Why can't I just get over it like everyone else?" The resistance that clenches your body and declares, "This must end right now." You felt both, haven't you? The original sadness of a difficult conversation with someone you love, followed quickly by the anger at yourself for being too sensitive. The natural disappointment of a missed opportunity at work, followed by the spiral of thoughts telling you that you're failing at life. This secondary layer is exhausting. It turns manageable pain into suffering that can last for years. But you can learn to meet your pain with kindness instead of fear. Imagine a small child waking up from a nightmare, crying in the dark. What do? You don't scold the child for being afraid. You don't tell them to stop crying. You gather them into your arms. You hold them close. You whisper, "I'm here. It's okay to feel scared. I've got you." Your warmth doesn't make the nightmare disappear instantly, but it makes the child feel safe enough to move through it. This is how you can begin to hold your own pain. Your grief, your anger, your anxiety, your despair, they are like that frightened child. They don't need to be fixed or silenced. They need to be met with tenderness. When a wave of difficult emotion rises, the old habit is to tighten. Your chest constricts. Your throat closes. Your mind races to find an escape. Instead, try this. Pause. Place one hand gently on your heart and the other on your belly. Feel the warmth of your own touch. Then speak softly inside yourself. This is primary pain. It's okay that it's here. I don't have to like it, but I can be kind to it. Breathe into the sensation, not forcing it away, not analyzing it to death, just offering it space, like opening the door of your home to welcome a storm inside. Yes, the wind may blow through, the rain may wet the floors, but you are no longer fighting it from outside. You are inside with it, steady and present. Let's talk about a woman named Elena. She had carried deep anxiety for most of her adult life. Every time worry appeared, she would criticize herself harshly. "You're too weak. Other people handle life better than this." The fear of her own fear created a storm within a storm. She felt trapped. One day, during a particularly intense panic, she tried something different. Instead of pushing the anxiety away, she sat on her couch, put both hands on her racing heart, and spoke to it as if it were a frightened friend. "I see you. You're trying to protect me. Thank you for caring so much. I'm here with you now." At first, the anxiety spiked, but she stayed open. She kept breathing. She kept offering kindness. Within minutes, something softened. The anxiety was still there, but it no longer felt like an enemy. It felt like energy moving through her. Uncomfortable, yes, but no longer terrifying. Over time, this practice became her new foundation. Her secondary suffering dramatically decreased. She began to trust that she could feel anxious and still be whole. You can do this too. When grief visits, it may feel like a heavy stone in your chest. Instead of thinking, "I should be over this by now," you might say, "Grief, you loved deeply. Of course you're here. Come rest in my arms for a while." You let the tears come without judgment. You let the waves move through. When anger burns hot, it often carries a message about boundaries or injustice. Rather than shaming yourself for feeling it, you can acknowledge, "Anger, I hear your fire. Show me what needs protecting." You feel the heat in your body, breathe into it, and let it inform you instead of control you. When anxiety tightens your stomach and speeds your thoughts, you offer reassurance. "I know you're scared. Life feels big right now. I'm not leaving you alone with this." You stay with the sensations. You notice them without drowning in the stories. When despair settles like thick fog, you sit beside it gently. "It's dark here. I see that. I don't need to force the light. I can just keep you company." This is sitting with your feelings. It is not passive. It is an active, courageous act of love. You may worry, "What if I fall apart? What if I let this in and it never ends?" These are honest fears. But the truth is that you will not fall apart. You are far more resilient than you know. Feelings, even the most intense ones, have a natural life cycle. When met with kindness and openness, they crest, move, and eventually shift. They may return, but each time you meet them this way, they lose some of their overwhelming power. You build trust in your own capacity. There is no rush, no perfect way to do this. Some days you will meet your pain beautifully. Other days you may close down or reach for old comforts. That's all right. Kindness includes how you treat yourself on those days too. Pain, when met with openness and kindness, begins to transform. It doesn't always disappear, but it changes shape. It softens around the edges. It reveals wisdom. It carves out space inside you for greater compassion, deeper presence, and unexpected strength. What once felt like an enemy becomes a quiet teacher, shaping you into someone more whole, more real, more alive. Chapter 5: Daily Practices for a Stronger, More Open Heart. You don't need a perfect life to begin. You only need a willing heart and a few quiet moments. This chapter is not about escaping the storm. It is about building a stronger, more open heart that can remain steady and soft even while the winds howl. The practices I'm going to share with you are simple, realistic, and designed for real life. The kind of life that includes demanding jobs, tired mornings, difficult relationships, and days when you barely have energy to breathe. Consistency matters more than intensity. 5 minutes practiced with genuine presence will serve you far more than an hour done with resistance. These are not tools to eliminate discomfort. They are quiet trainings that expand your capacity to stay open inside it. Let's begin with the most accessible doorway you already carry with you: your breath and body. Your body is always here, speaking to you. When difficulty arises, it tightens. The chest grows heavy. The shoulders rise. The jaw clenches. Instead of ignoring these signals or fighting them, you can turn toward them with gentle awareness. Close your eyes if it feels safe, or simply soften your gaze. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. Take a slow breath in through the nose for 4 counts. Feel your belly expand. Then breathe out through the mouth for 6 counts, letting the shoulders drop. As you breathe, silently say, "I am here. This moment is enough." Do this for just 1 minute. Notice any tightness without trying to fix it. You are not pushing the feeling away. You are creating space around it. This simple breath practice reminds your nervous system that you are safe enough to feel. You can return to it in traffic, before a difficult meeting, or in the middle of the night when worry wakes you. Over time, this builds a foundation of presence. You begin to catch yourself earlier when you start to close down. You learn that you can feel strong emotions and still remain anchored in your body. Now, let's speak about simple mindfulness in difficult moments. Mindfulness here is not about clearing your mind. It is about meeting your mind with kindness. When anxiety spikes at work or sadness arrives while you're cooking dinner, instead of thinking, "I need to stop feeling this," ask gently, "What is this feeling trying to tell me right now?" A practical technique is the 3-breath pause. The moment you notice discomfort rising, stop. Take 3 conscious breaths. On the first, name what you feel. This is anger. On the second, name where you feel it. Tight in my throat. On the third, offer kindness. I'm here with you. It takes less than 30 seconds. Yet, it interrupts the old cycle of resistance and creates a small pocket of openness. In relationships, this pause can prevent words you might regret. In the workplace, it can help you respond with clarity instead of reactivity. Small, repeatable, powerful. Journaling and honest inquiry are also beautiful ways to strengthen openness. You don't need fancy notebooks or long hours. Each evening, or even during a lunch break, ask yourself these 3 gentle questions. What did I feel today that I tried to push away? Where did I stay open, even a little? What small act of kindness can I offer myself tomorrow? Write whatever comes. No need for perfect sentences. Sometimes you might write only 3 lines. Other times the words will flow. This practice helps you see your patterns without shame. It turns vague overwhelm into something you can hold and understand. A busy single mother named Penny started doing this on her phone notes during her commute. At first she felt silly, but after a few weeks, she noticed something shifting. She stopped carrying the day's emotions like heavy stones. She began meeting them with more curiosity and less fear. Her children even commented that she seemed calmer. Small daily writing created space she didn't know she needed. You can create your own openness rituals too. Simple, personal acts that signal to your heart, "I am willing to stay open today." It might be lighting a candle in the morning and taking 3 breaths while repeating, "I choose openness today." Or placing your hand on your heart before bed and reviewing the day with compassion. Or keeping a small stone in your pocket that you touch when stress rises, reminding yourself to soften. These rituals are anchors. They don't need to be long or complicated. They simply bring you back to intention when life pulls you toward closing. Never underestimate the power of speaking honestly to trusted people. Openness grows in safe connection. When you share your real feelings, without needing to be fixed or advised, you practice being open in real time. You say to a friend, "I'm struggling today, and I don't need answers. I just need you to hear me." Or you tell your partner, "I feel scared about what's happening. Can we sit with this together?" Vulnerability like this can feel terrifying at first, but it builds trust, both in others and in yourself. It reminds you that you don't have to carry everything alone, and often, speaking the truth out loud reduces the shame around it. Of course, choose your people wisely. Not everyone has the capacity to hold space, but even 1 or 2 safe relationships can become sacred ground for your growth. Nature, too, is one of the greatest teachers of openness. Go outside, even for 5 minutes. Feel your feet on the earth. Look at the sky. Notice how the weather changes. Sun one moment, clouds the next, and yet the earth holds it all. Let nature show you that you too can hold many seasons. Remember, these practices are not about becoming someone who never struggles. They are about becoming someone who struggles differently, with more space, more compassion, more trust in your own capacity. You may miss days. You may forget. You may fall back into old patterns of closing or numbing. That's part of being human. What matters is that you return. Each return strengthens the muscle. Each small choice to stay open, even briefly, adds another layer of inner rock beneath your feet. Over weeks and months, something profound happens. You begin to trust yourself in new ways. Difficult emotions still come, but they no longer frighten you as much. You have proven to yourself, again and again, that you can meet them. You can breathe with them. You can learn from them. The storms will still arrive. That is life. But you are no longer building on sand. You are building a heart that can stand in the rain and still feel the sun when it returns. A heart that can hold pain and joy in the same gentle hands. A heart that knows it is enough, exactly as it is. Chapter 6. The Unexpected Gifts of Staying Open. You have come far already. By choosing to stay open instead of running, you are planting seeds that will bear fruit you cannot yet fully see. The gifts do not always arrive quickly or dramatically. They grow quietly, like roots beneath the soil, strengthening you from the inside out. But they are real, and they are beautiful. When you stop treating discomfort as an enemy to defeat, something profound begins to shift. Pain, once resisted, becomes a doorway. What once felt like endless suffering slowly reveals hidden gifts, deeper resilience, more authentic relationships, fresh creativity, quiet wisdom, genuine compassion, and a freedom no external comfort could ever give you. First comes resilience, not the hard, armored kind you may have chased before. This is a quieter, more flexible strength, like a young bamboo that bends wildly in the storm, yet returns upright, rooted deeply. You discover you can feel intense sorrow, fear, or anger, and still remain whole. The storms no longer shatter you in the same way. This builds a profound inner confidence. You begin to trust yourself. I can face hard things. I have done it before. I will do it again. Think about your life. How many times have you surprised yourself by getting through something you once believed would break you? That same capacity grows stronger with openness. Then there are relationships. When you stay open, you show up more honestly. You stop hiding behind masks of "I'm fine." You allow others to see the real you, the one who struggles, who feels deeply, who sometimes falls apart and puts herself back together. This honesty invites deeper connection. Conversations move beyond surface pleasantries into something more meaningful. In your marriage or close friendships, you might say, "This is hard for me right now, and I want to share it with you," instead of pulling away. That vulnerability often meets with relief and closeness from the other person. They feel safe to be real too. Authentic relationships become one of the sweetest gifts of staying open. Creativity also awakens. When you stop numbing discomfort, you regain access to the full range of your emotional life. And emotions are the raw material of all great art, insight, and innovation. The sadness you once pushed away might fuel a meaningful project at work. The anger you now allow to move through you could inspire you to set healthier boundaries or create something that helps others. Many of the most beautiful songs, paintings, businesses, and acts of service were born from pain that someone chose to meet openly rather than escape. You don't have to become an artist. Creativity shows up in how you solve problems, how you parent, how you love, how you live. Life itself becomes more creative when you stop shutting down parts of your experience. Then there is wisdom, the kind that cannot be learned from books alone. It grows in the soil of lived difficulty. When you stay open through uncertainty, you develop a deeper knowing. You learn to discern what truly matters. You see patterns in yourself and others more clearly. You become less reactive and more responsive. People often say after a major storm, such as illness, loss, failure, that they wouldn't wish it on anyone, yet they wouldn't trade the wisdom they gained. That wisdom is one of openness's quiet rewards. Compassion flows naturally too. Having met your own pain with kindness, you begin to see the pain in others more clearly. You listen differently. You judge less. You offer presence instead of quick fixes. In the workplace, this might look like sitting with a struggling colleague without rushing to give advice. In your family, it might mean holding space for a child's big emotions instead of trying to calm them immediately. Your compassion becomes a gentle light in a world that often feels harsh. And beneath all these gifts rests the most precious one, a quiet inner freedom. This freedom does not mean you never feel pain again. It means you are no longer controlled by your fear of pain. You stop organizing your life around avoiding discomfort. You become free to take risks, to love fully, to pursue what matters, even when it's hard. You discover joy that can coexist with sorrow, peace that lives in the same room as uncertainty. This is the long-term transformation, from fragility to quiet strength, from constant fear to vibrant aliveness. You move from someone who survives life to someone who truly inhabits it. Let me share two short stories with you. The first is about Marcus, a teacher who lost his wife to cancer. For the first year, he tried to stay strong for his children. He kept busy, pushed away the grief, and smiled through the pain. But the weight grew heavier. When he finally began practicing openness, crying when he needed to, speaking honestly about his loneliness, sitting with the emptiness, he discovered something unexpected. His grief, once resisted, slowly softened into a deep love that kept his wife's memory alive in a beautiful way. He became more present with his students and children. He started writing about his experience, which helped thousands of others. The storm did not end, but it revealed strength, purpose, and a richer way of loving life. The second story belongs to Aisha, a young professional who faced sudden redundancy during an economic downturn. Instead of spiraling into shame or frantically applying for any job, she allowed herself to feel the fear and disappointment fully. She stayed open. In that space, she discovered a long-buried passion for mentoring young women from her community. What began as a small volunteer effort grew into a meaningful nonprofit. Years later, she says the layoff was one of the hardest and best things that ever happened to her. Not because it was easy, but because staying open turned loss into redirection. These are not fairy tales. They are real human experiences. Your story may look different, but the gifts are available to you too. Pain, when met with openness, stops being only pain. It becomes a teacher, a sculptor, a guide. It carves away what is false and reveals what is true. It softens your edges. It deepens your capacity for joy. Many people report that after learning to stay open, they laugh more freely, love more bravely, and feel more alive than they did during easier times. Contrast this with the old way of seeking constant comfort. You may feel better temporarily, but you remain smaller, more fragile, more afraid of the next storm. Openness offers the opposite. You become larger on the inside, more spacious, more capable of holding life in all its colors. You are becoming someone who does not merely endure difficulty. You are becoming someone who grows through it, someone who finds meaning inside it, someone who emerges wiser, softer, and more powerfully alive. Conclusion: living open in an uncertain world. We have walked a long way together, you and I. From the first moment you opened your heart to these words, through the recognition that the storm is not your enemy, past the seductive trap of comfort seeking, and into the tender practice of staying open. You have learned to meet your pain with kindness rather than fear. You have discovered simple daily practices that strengthen your inner ground. And you have begun to glimpse the unexpected gifts that bloom when we stop running and start remaining present. This is the heart of everything we've explored. True peace and growth do not come from escaping discomfort or chasing constant comfort. They come from developing the courage and capacity to stay open in the middle of the storm, to feel what is here, to breathe with it, to let life move through you instead of building walls against it. You don't need to do this perfectly. Some days you will meet difficulty with openness and grace. Other days you will close down, reach for old comforts, or forget everything you've learned. This is not failure. It is being human. What matters most is your gentle return, the quiet intention that says, I am willing to try again. Each return strengthens you. Each compassionate restart deepens the new path you are walking. The world remains uncertain. Storms will keep coming. There will be losses, changes, heartbreaks, and unexpected turns. But you are no longer the same person who began this journey. You carry something powerful with you now, a new orientation toward life. When the next storm arrives, you will remember. You will pause, place a hand on your heart, and whisper to yourself, I can stay open to this. You will breathe through the tightness in your chest. You will speak honestly with someone who cares. You will let the rain fall without fighting it so fiercely. And in those moments, you will feel the difference. Not that the pain vanishes, but that you are no longer at war with it. You are moving with it, growing inside it. You are ready for whatever comes next. Not because life will be easy, but because you are growing a heart wide enough and strong enough to hold it all. Imagine for a moment the life that becomes possible when we stop organizing everything around avoiding discomfort. You move through your days with more freedom. You love more bravely because you're no longer terrified of loss. You create, connect, and contribute from a deeper place. Joy feels richer because it is no longer fragile. Peace feels more real because it can exist alongside the truth of life. You become someone who can hold both laughter and tears in the same moment. Someone who listens deeply to others because you have learned to listen deeply to yourself. Someone who meets uncertainty not with dread, but with a quiet, grounded aliveness. This is not a perfect life. It is a fully lived one. A life that embraces the whole spectrum of being human, the sun and the rain, the calm and the storm. And in that embrace, you discover something sacred. You were never meant to be unbroken. You were meant to be beautifully open. Thank you for listening with such an open heart. Thank you for showing up for yourself in this way. The world needs more people like you. People who are willing to feel deeply and still move forward with kindness and courage. As you step back into your daily life, carry this truth with you. Every time you choose openness, even briefly, you are lighting a small, steady flame that no storm can extinguish. That flame grows. It warms you. It guides you. And one day you will look back and realize how profoundly it has changed everything.